pentameter, as you have done to this if we should fail. And then maybe there's a pause before Lady Macbeth goes, we fail. Well, there are many ways, and if you think about it, you read it on the page and you see a question mark after both fails. Is that what it has in your edition? Mostly. Question mark, exclamation point was kind of interchangeable at the time. So, what if he said, she says, had I so sworn that you have done to this? You understand what she's saying in that. She's not just saying, that image jumps out of the context in which she's saying it. She's saying, if I had sworn like you'd sworn, I would dash the brains out of my little kid if I had to, just to live up to what my promise, my oath was. And Macbeth says, if we should fail. So does he say, if we should fail? Does he go, if we should fail? If we should fail? And what does she say? How does she say we fail? And there are long notes in the Variorum from way back when of how Mrs. Siddons did it in 1780 and how this one did it in 1875 or so. So, does she say, we fail? Does she say, we fail? Does she say, we fail? Or a host of ways in between. But her next line is, but screw your courage. And the but really means only. But screw your courage to the sticking place and will not fail. Not that many notes on sticking place. Sticking place probably refers to an instrument reaching the point when you're tuning it, the sticking place. Sticking place can be you're stabbing somebody and you hit the bone. That's the sticking place. Sticking place can have other kind of connotations if you'd like. And I'm sure in many sultry modern production it would as she sidles up to him and says, screw your courage to the sticking place and will not fail. Well, there's something to be said there too. In that I'm saying there should be definitely something that shows us this relationship. The most successful marriage, was the happiest marriage Bloom described this one as? Maybe. But then, from that line, after she says, screw your courage in the sticking place and will not fail, she launches into the practicalities of what to do. And she says, when Duncan is asleep, whereto the rather shall his day's hard journey soundly invite him? Right? His two chamberlains, the two men who are sitting outside washing guard, will I with wine and wassail, toasts, right? So convince that memory, the warder of the brain, memory, the thing that watches the brain, the guard of the brain, shall be a fume, and the receipt of reason a limbeck only. What is a limbeck? Unless you're distillers and you know what a limbeck is. But it's a part of distillery that turns stuff into the fumes, basically. And she's saying, basically, the memory will just become, they will not even remember what happened. They'll be so drunk, right? When in swinish sleep their drenched natures lies as in a death, likening sleep to death, what cannot you and I perform upon the unguarded Duncan? What not put upon his spongy officers who shall bear the guilt of our great quell? And quell was often pronounced kill, and really in effect means that, our slaughter, our murder. Of our great quell bring forth men children only. Does he answer her right away? Or is it of our great kell? Ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. And he looks at her and he goes, damn, you are a piece of work. No, he doesn't say that. He doesn't say that, but he does say, bring forth men children only, for thy undaunted mettle, always a pun on M-E-T-T-L-E, M-E-T-A-L, should compose nothing but males. And then he goes right along with the program. Will it not be received when we have marked with blood those sleepy two of his own chamber, and use their very daggers that they have done it? Lady Macbeth goes, who dares receive it other, as we shall make our griefs and clamor roar upon his death. I am settled, and bend up each corporal agent to this terrible feat. What does that mean? Exactly what it says. Every muscle in my body, every corporal part of my being, I am bending up Yes, indeed. To this terrible feat. I'm ready. Okay. Oh, and then he says to her, away and mock the time with fairest show. False face must hide what the false heart doth know. So he says to her what she had said to him when I was reviewing the opening today of the previous scene, right? She said, look up, to alter favor, to change your face is to fear. You have to look good, be the serpent underneath, right? Well, here, he is now saying it to her. So, cases have been made that, he wouldn't do it without, some of this may have come up last week, I don't know. He wouldn't have done it without Lady Macbeth. I don't know. There seems to be there was surely inclination to do. He wouldn't have done it without the witches. I don't know. It sounds like a lot of this was in his head in advance. Whether he would have or he wouldn't have. But surely is she joining in and giving him that extra, come on, honey, we talked about this. Time is right. This is our chance. Let's do it. Why am I thinking of all these people assembled in the same? Never mind. That's a different story. Okay. Okay. So this is just this scene, but of course, the momentum is going to proceed. Okay. And I want to proceed so I can cover some of this, and then if you have comments and things, which I loved last week, feel free to take notes or ask things if you want to. All right? But really, that we fail moment is really so great. I think Ellen Terry did it with a laugh. She said, "We fail? Come on, what is the matter with you? Screw your courage to the sticking place, honey. I know you can do it. Let's do it." Anyway, Act 2, Scene 1. Enter Banquo and Fleance. Fleance is Banquo's son. He's probably, we don't have age exactly laid out, but maybe he's 15, maybe he's 12. He's a teenager, probably. Enter Banquo and Fleance with a torch, or yours may say a torch parentheses bearer before him. So it isn't clear, is Fleance carrying the torch, indicating that it's nighttime, or was there a torch bearer leading them? Either way. Banquo says, "How goes the night, boy? Being how far into the night is it?" Fleance says, "The moon is down. I've not heard the clock." "And she goes down at 12. "I take it 'tis later, sir." Banquo says, "Hold, take my sword. There's husbandry in heaven. Their candles are all out. Take thee that too." And he gives him whatever, we don't know what he's giving him. Is he giving him his sword? Is he giving him whatever else he's carrying? Is he giving him a little box with a gift that we'll hear about in a moment? But he's giving over to his son, and he's getting ready to lay down, right? And he says, "Heavy summons lies like lead upon me, yet I would not sleep. Merciful powers, restrain in me the cursed thoughts that nature gives way to in repose." And Macbeth comes in with a servant with a torch, and immediately Banquo goes, "Give me my sword, give me my sword. Who's there?" Macbeth says, "A friend." "What, sir? Not yet at rest. The king's abed. He hath been an unusual pleasure, and sent forth great largesse to your offices. This diamond he greets your wife withal." And he gives Macbeth this diamond for Lady Macbeth. He greets your wife withal by the name of most kind hostess, and shut up in measureless content. Macbeth says, "Being unprepared, our will became the servant to defect, which else should free have wrought." Banquo goes, "All's well. I dreamt last night of the 3 weird sisters. To you they have showed some truth. I think not of them. Yet when we can entreat an hour to serve, we would spend it in some time, in some words upon that business, if you would grant the time." at your kindest leisure. If you shall cleave to my consent when 'tis, it shall make honor of you for you. So I lose none in seeking to augment it, but still keep my bosom franchised and allegiance clear, I shall be counseled. Good repose the while. Thanks, sir. The like to you. And Banquo and Flance and the torchbearer leave. And Macbeth is left alone. So let's look at this quickly and see what's going on here, right? Banquo and Flance come in, all right? Banquo's probably also been at this banquet. The moon goes down at 12, okay, it's later. Take my sword, there's husbandry in heaven, meaning that heaven is being parsimonious about light. The stars are out, it's a dark night. Their candles are all out. And Banquo says, you know, I really am tired, I really want to sleep, and yet I sort of can't sleep. And then he says, the cursed thoughts that nature gives way to in repose. I hope we've all been sleeping well lately, but you know, sometimes a lot of weird thoughts come into the mind as you're drifting off, and he's praying for help that doesn't happen. And Macbeth comes in with a servant, and immediately he jumps and says, give me my sword, who's there? The opening line of Hamlet, as many of you know, who's there? Macbeth says, a friend. Banquo says, oh, not at rest. The king's abed, the king's asleep. He'd been an unusual pleasure, and he sent forth great largesse to your offices. He gave me this diamond for you to give to your wife. Wow. And shut up in measureless content. He couldn't be happier. Macbeth humbly says, well, being unprepared, our will became the servant to defect, which else should free have wrought. Sorry we weren't as good hosts as we could have been. Banquo goes, all's well. Probably a little pause there. Not all's well that ends well. That's something else. And Banquo then says, I dreamed last night of the three weird sisters. To you, they've shown some truth. Banquo says, who, them? Oh, I never think about them. I hear some yeah rights. Yeah, I think not of them. Yet when we can entreat an hour to serve, we would spend it in some words upon that business, if you would grant the time.